episode 237 of the TV Dudes podcast, recorded May 19th, 2019, Game of Thrones series finale.
That's it. It's over.
We're done.
It's over. Yeah, I guess we're done.
All right, that's a wrap, folks.
Yeah, that's it. We've been. This was with a culmination of our entire TV podcast.
We should clarify. They're done.
Oh yeah, we're gonna keep broadcasting.
That doesn't mean we're done.
No, we're gonna record other stuff. There's other TV.
In fact, we are just getting started on this episode, folks. Because yes, Game of Thrones, the biggest show on television, the last of the water cooler talk dynasty,
The 800-pound dragon, if you will,
is gone.
It's gone.
It's done.
Except for the documentary and the 2 or 3 prequel series and the sequel they're working on.
Hey, maybe. I don't know. Like, seriously, we've discussed this before, but what is going to take the place of Game of Thrones?
If HBO is to be believed, it's Euphoria, Watchmen. Next year there's Westworld. We got some really great commercials coming up, kids. Don't change the channel.
Hey, I would like to advocate for Watchmen because I just started a Watchmen podcast.
Yes, you did.
But you know what? I'm split with Watchmen because I'm a huge fan of Damon Lindelof.
Yeah.
Some people might not know this.
No.
Huge fan.
Yeah, no one who's listening to the show knows that.
And he's made 2 big shows, Lost and The Leftovers.
Yep.
And Lost was a huge hit among all audiences. Leftovers, a small indie style show.
But both beloved by Grant.
Both beloved by me. And that's where I'm like, I feel like just looking at what the Watchmen previews are showing, it feels a little bit more Leftovers than it does Lost.
I was thinking that too.
And I'm like, oh no, are you making it too intimate? It needs to be big. It needs to have dragons. It needs to have murder every episode and crazy shit.
At the very least, there's like superheroes and vigilantes and shit, and I'm not getting it. Yeah, I agree with you. The vibe of Watchmen is smaller and quieter than I would have thought, but creepier. I'm very intrigued.
Right.
But I'm also nervous about it.
So, Who Pods the Watchmen is my brand new podcast that I've started with my business partner, Mike Moody, here at Permanent Record Studios. And I'd love you guys to go ahead and subscribe to that, check it out, follow us on Instagram, and please also, share it with other people, tag us in posts, we'll share those along too. And yeah, we're going to do a review of like the comics leading up to the show because the show doesn't start until fall.
Right.
So we're going to be reviewing all that. But anyway, I didn't mean to just like turn this into a plug for my other podcast. Seriously, we are going to be talking about Game of Thrones.
No, this is meta because you're doing the same thing HBO does. Before they get to the show, they want to tell you about the 8 other things that you should really stick around for.
Ooh, they felt desperate, didn't they?
Yeah. Well, also, Les's podcast is back on the Electric Sweater Network.
There we go, yeah.
That is the
Good Die Young.
The Good Die Young. What's the second season about?
Second season is Happy Town.
Yeah, Happy Town. So that's starting up again. I mean, don't go anywhere, folks. Just like HBO, we got except we actually have good stuff.
TheGoodDieYoungTV.com. Go check that site out as well because it's just been redesigned, rebranded for the second season. Whoa. Got a little excited there. He just announced his launch of the second season. So, yeah, follow that as well.
I feel bad for HBO. I felt bad for them watching this. I'm like, guys, you're not TV. You're HBO. You got a lot of good things to offer you. Yeah, I mean, Game of Thrones is ending, and Barry ended its second season, and yeah, okay, I might have canceled my subscription for a few months, and that's not a great sign. I really want to know what the numbers look like. There's no way they will ever let us know, but I want to know how many people canceled their subscription like the second Game of Thrones ended.
Oh, no, you think?
I think they may take a huge stock hit tomorrow. I'll be really curious to see if we hear anything about this.
So, I recall when The Sopranos ended. Hey, have we announced who we are?
No.
I'm Grant.
I'm Randy.
We're the TV dude.
We are.
I feel like we waited way too long to even do such a thing as an introduction.
Well, first we had to pitch everything that we have coming up on our network, the Electric Sweater Network. Please,
like,
God, stay with us.
Please, now that we don't have Game of Thrones, who are we? But I'd like to go back in our little time machine, Randy, to a time when The Sopranos was ending.
Yeah.
and they didn't know what they were going to have next. And you know what those next few shows were?
Yeah.
It was Flight of the Conchords.
Yep.
And a little indie John from Cincinnati,
Yep.
which, let me remind you, did not go over well.
Not great.
Flight of the Conchords had a good cult following, and I wish I could say the same about John from Cincinnati. But that was their other big betting horse. And, speaking of betting horses...
Then there was Luck.
That was David Milch, who also did Luck, about horse betting, and also that one didn't pan out for them.
So what you're saying is you think HBO might recover?
I think they'll be fine, but they might flounder for a couple attempts before they kind of strike gold.
Yeah.
I mean, Big Little Lies is pretty huge for them as well.
Yeah.
Big Little Lies, they got Westworld.
Yeah, Westworld is great, but it is definitely it's divisive. Like, not everybody likes Westworld.
Westworld is so cerebral that you have to, beg people to keep watching it.
Look,
with you.
stick around. I promise there's going to be murder sex robots.
Okay, so before we get into talking about this week's episode, we did not talk about last week's episode. Everyone and their mother talked about it on Twitter, and they're going to be doing the same with this episode, of course.
Right. Well, partly because of scheduling, but also it just seemed like we would just do the penultimate and the ultimate together, and I'm glad we did.
It's funny. We saw each other that night, and we actually used that time to shoot a little video instead of doing the discussion of the podcast.
Right, because we have an exciting thing going on with ATX TV Festival, which we haven't talked about.
Oh, is it time to plug another thing?
Yeah, let's plug another thing.
Hey, if you guys are going to be attending the ATX Television Fest here in Austin, Texas, it's season 8, the 8th year in a row, and we have attended every year since the very first year. At least you and I have, Randy.
Yeah.
And we are so excited because we kind of made a big gamble of a pitch. And we said, hey, guys at ATX Fest, ladies at ATX Fest, we think there should be a karaoke event. We would love to do a little karaoke event. And they said, okay, you guys can do a karaoke event.
And we said, oh, shit.
Now we have to do a karaoke event. And not only that, they're like, we're going to give you the ballroom, the biggest room that we have to do this karaoke event. And not only that, we're going to give you closing night to do this karaoke event. And we're like, oh, that's so much bigger than we anticipated. Okay, we got this.
Terrified and excited. There's got to be a German word for that.
Yeah, shits and pence. So we are shits and pence. But we've been rocking that. Les has been really stepping up and doing a whole lot of planning and coordinating for it. And we're excited. That's going to be June 8th. And if you guys buy tickets to attend the fest, you can come sing some karaoke with us.
Yes.
It's TV theme song karaoke.
Yeah.
I don't know if I properly said that, but it's going to be a party. It's going to be that.
It's going to be a blast.
It's going to be activities. Come join us. All right. So before we talk about this week's episode, we didn't talk about last week's episode,
Yes.
and I know that we had a little bit of a contentious take. We're not gonna go over it too heavily.
Right. We're not moment by moment, but just real quickly, you were very much on board.
I was very much on board.
And I was very much fuck this show.
Yeah, you were.
I haven't been in that place.
No, you...
I've always been in support of Game of Thrones. I've always been the guy defending Benioff and Weiss, and I was like, I think they fucked up really big.
But you know what it was?
What was it?
I've been complaining that they've been doing a lot of what I would call fan service.
Yeah.
The past 2 seasons. They've been deviating from the original mantra of the show, which is that no one is a hero. Mm-hmm. Chaos reigns.
Everybody dies.
Everyone dies. The hero doesn't win at the end of the day. Shit goes crazy, and power corrupts, right?
Yeah,
that's what happens in the Game of Thrones. That's the whole thing of Game of Thrones. People want the power so much, and it corrupts. Mm-hmm. And I was an advocate for that old formula, and as they deviated from that, I thought, man, now everyone's time traveling together, everyone's meeting up, and it's fun for the audience that they're just yucking it up, and all of our heroes don't die, but all these other peons are just body count for them, but no risk to our guys for the most part.
Yeah.
And I was like, what's going on here? And then suddenly they just monkey wrench this motherfucker.
Yeah.
And Dany goes crazy and torches the entire Red Keep, the entire
city,
the whole city,
full of women and children. She murders women and children.
It was brutal. It was so unexpected that it's gross, but I was grinning about the whole thing. 'Cause I was like, yes, something unexpected is happening. I know it doesn't fit into the narrative. They did not take enough time to tell this story, and it's kind of some bullshit. But at the same time, I haven't felt this exhilaration about something unexpected on this show in a while.
So let me ask you a question.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think they should have done 10 episodes this season?
Yes.
I do too. And
this needs so much more breathing room.
I was on board with the whole 6 long episode thing. I was like, okay, well, they've known what they're doing in general. Like
These episodes aren't long even. 80 minutes is not that long.
Yeah. And I just like, I don't think the turn wasn't unrealistic. And in fact, I think a lot of people did expect the turn with Dany. And I think that George R. R. Martin probably set up that turn. And that's probably what's going to happen in the books that nobody's ever going to publish.
Right.
Or write. But
he's already written them, and he's just under contract to not say anything.
Sure, he is.
It's not true. But.
But I think that it didn't feel. It felt like such a turn that I was like, what show have I been watching? Because you've been selling me on Dany as the good guy for a long time here, and people love to do this. The Monday morning quarterbacking stuff with this.
The hindsight's 2020.
I saw
kind of
tons of people like, well, what show were you watching? They set this up. She burned all these other places. And I'm like, she burned slavers and monsters. Like, she's never burned innocents like this before. That's new. Let's not pretend that's not new.
I will say this: they are having their cake and eating it too.
Yes, they are.
If you look through the past history of her. She's always been really power hungry. Mm-hmm. She's been very determined to have the throne. Yeah. And she's been pretty ruthless and cutthroat. But at the same time, the showrunners have presented her as a hero.
Yes.
They've had us rooting for her as the savior of people. In a way, compassionate. These are her new children, and she's going to rescue them from the power structures that are holding them back, right?
There's never been a sense that we were supposed to be uncertain about Dany. And I think to play fair with your audience, there should have been some moments throughout where people were like, hey, she's crazy.
The only reason I disagree is because of how powerful that shock factor is when she flips the switch and decides, I'm going to burn this motherfucker down. And... If we had a little bit more of a doubt and could anticipate that, I don't think it would have had as jaw-dropping a moment.
I guess, but here's the thing. If alien spaceships had showed up at her command and blasted King's Landing, that would have been surprising too.
That's not fair. I think it still fits within what's been telegraphed in the show. It's just not been heavy-handed. It's been subtle enough, but still like dropped through. She burned Varys right there. That seemed like a good she when people refuse to bend the knee to her, she takes that as like, oh, I can just burn you, rather than like put you in prison, or I mean, you're just two people, whatever. I'm going to strip you of your power. Like, she likes fire. And,
she does like fire.
And she likes dramatic gestures of dominance.
Yeah, this is true. This is true.
And I would say it's been there. But that's part of the same complaint we have. This has just been a rush season.
Yeah. I feel like they could have foreshadowed a little bit more and made us buy it a little bit more. You're not wrong, though. The shock value of it was that wait, holy shit, are you really doing this? Like, it looked like it was over.
I like Jon Snow being kind of impotent during the whole thing. Like, he's like, I am a warrior, but I did not sign up for this, because that plays so well into this week's episode. Mm-hmm. Arya doesn't need to be a hero in this episode because she already fucking killed the Night King.
Yeah.
Like, she earned her stripes. So, like, if she's just going to be the POV character on the ground, like seeing the destruction, I'm like, I'm okay with that this episode.
I'm okay-ish with it. But I definitely feel like they undercut Arya's character in these last 2 episodes. I really feel like
in this
she
one
didn't
more
get
so because
she didn't get to do anything.
Well, what did you expect, or what did you think about Cersei and Jaime?
I hated it. I hated Cersei.
Did you want more comeuppance for her?
Yes. I didn't want her to just be sad and cry and crushed by rocks with her brother in her arms. Like that was too good of an ending for Cersei for all the shit she's done.
Yeah.
I needed more. I needed blood. I needed fire and blood for her.
You don't like the metaphorical, her entire empire crushed her?
I don't.
It fell on her?
I didn't like it. And I also feel like Benioff and West were trying to have their cake and eat it too with her. Like, they want us to hate Cersei, but they also want us to think of her as this strong and powerful woman. And they want us to feel like Jaime betrayed Brienne but they also want us to feel like Jaime and Cersei was this great love story and their ending was romantic and tragic. And I'm like, no, I really kind of hate both of them, and I don't care they're squashed by rocks.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought it was really well done in those regards. I mean, that's the thing. It's not people aren't just these simple archetypes.
I guess
characters are complex, and in this show more so than a lot of other shows. I like that Cersei's such a complicated character. Like, she was a person who was a loving mother to her kids. She raised a sociopath.
Yeah.
And her other kids were fine. But she also is a sociopath. And
I don't know. Cersei's done enough bad.
Lena Headey is just amazing.
Oh, she's great. But Cersei's done enough bad shit that I was not. At no point was I rooting for her.
No.
Never ever. And
but I think it's human to be able to recognize and have sympathy for the devil at times.
Maybe in this regard, I am a robot.
And Jaime, I mean, I don't know. I
was so disappointed in Jaime.
I don't need him to go kill her. I didn't he could have stayed with Brienne, but that would have been a little bit lackluster too as far as the drama department. And the only complaint I had was the weird, awkward beach brawl he has with Pirate Bro.
You're on Greyjoy.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. This is I'm gonna 180 here because I just talked about how much I hate Cersei. I fucking loved Euron Greyjoy. He was such a Euro trash bag. I loved Euron Greyjoy. He was having his best life. He was having such a good time. He's an awful, awful man.
I'm kind of there with you. I don't know how I feel about the guy.
He died as he lived, bragging about something he didn't really do, with a big smile on his face.
He's the best.
Yeah, he's the best. Rip Euron Greyjoy.
Yeah, but as like a drug addict.
Yeah.
Jaime runs back to her. And, I thought that they straddled the line with he could have gone to kill her. That could have been his mission.
Yeah.
But Tyrion presented him a different option. And at the point when he finally does come across her, it didn't matter.
Yeah.
It didn't matter if he was going to try and kill her.
Yeah.
The world was over.
Yeah.
Everything was crumbling around him. They were dead.
Yeah.
And the one thing he could do was fall into her arms and tell her, I love you one last time. And I was like, there's something beautiful in that.
Yeah. The one thing I do like about that story is that I like that Tyrion got to repay his brother's kindness for his brother. His brother had let him out at one point.
Right.
And I really liked that he got to pay that back. I thought that was a really nice little bit of symmetry. But all in all, I wish Jaime had died in the Night King battle in Brienne's arms.
Yeah, okay.
I would have liked that. Much better.
The Hound, the Clegane Bowl. What did you think there?
Boring. Yeah, I was like,
there's a dragon flying by. There's a crumbling castle, and they're fighting it. Yeah, the actual fight choreography itself was just like two brutes just kind of like smashing into each other, and I was like, they could have had a little bit more dynamism. Yeah,
I did like that Cersei's like all worried, and the Hound shows up, and then she just basically. He's like, I'm not here for you. You just go. I'm here for
him. And she's like, awkward. Just gonna sneak down the hall.
I also love that Qyburn.
Yeah.
His ignominious death.
He just gets crushed.
Was so good.
Yeah.
That's the death that dude deserved, and I was so glad he got it.
See, there you go. You're happy with one of the deaths.
I am happy with that death.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. Mostly, and I didn't like the turn. I really thought I didn't like what they did with Arya. I thought there was a lot of underwhelming stuff, and I thought that they spent a lot of time on misery porn, and that is not what I watched the show for.
I know, but it reminded me a little bit of like remember when Breaking Bad showed very briefly that one time about like the actual destruction that meth does to the community.
Yeah.
I think it was with the fridge crushing that person in the ATM machine or something.
Yeah, that felt earned to me, though.
It did, and it just seems like what is always omitted in this show is the cost to real people of this Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
These wars of these people that are power hungry.
Yeah.
And all these other people suffer as a result.
Right. Maybe we should
with the war.
Maybe we should give them some say in the decision-making process of who gets to be king.
Oh, Sam.
So, yeah, I after seeing this week's episode, I'm a little more happy with last week's episode.
Right.
Seeing that they went with Dany like she's full on, she's the villain. at this point, which I think it's a late in the game to make her the villain, but okay, sure. A friend of mine who's a comics writer suggested online, he said he would have liked them to have flipped the sequence of the episodes. So he would have liked to have seen them, like, the army doesn't show up in the north, Dany goes down to King's Landing, Missandei gets killed, Dany does this whole burns King's Landing to the ground, and then they still need her to fight the Night King. Like, that would have been so much more interesting.
Yeah, it's like, do you
have
make
to
that alliance?
You have to make that alliance. And that would have been fascinating.
Right, because now you're like sleeping with the enemy.
Yeah. I feel like that was a missed opportunity. Once he said that, I'm like, oh, man, that's so good.
All right, you ready to talk about the episode then?
Yeah, let's talk about the finale.
All right, guys, why would I give a spoiler warning right now?
Why would anyone be listening to this who didn't want to be spoiled?
Jeez, that's so stupid. I'm about to give you guys one.
But since we're going to do a spoiler warning, you know, there's a whole other podcast on Electric Sweater. If you like epic stories of other worlds, the Star Trek Discovery Pod has 2 full seasons you can listen to.
Yeah, there we go. There's another plug. Hey, and if you like what do we call it? Beach Cop Detectives.
Yes, if you like Beach Noir, there's Beach Cop Detectives, a whole season of Terriers.
Plugs. All right, so let's go ahead and start with our hot takes.
Hot takes, which are very hot because the place is on fire.
The place is burnt to a crisp.
I want to give a shout out before we start to the set decorators for all the work they did, setting random fires all over the place and putting blood spatter. Like, it looks post-apocalyptic.
It's gnarly.
So, my general take?
Yeah.
I liked it. Like, I feel like this ending an 8-season show with this kind of budget, this kind of scope, is an impossible task. To stick the landing on the level of something like Parks and Rec or The Shield is damn near impossible. I mean, you'll find people who don't like the ending of Breaking Bad. Like, it is really hard to stick the ending of an epic TV show.
Yeah.
And so it was never going to be perfect. And there's going to be people who say that this was a complete just dropping of the ball. And I don't think it's that. I think it has some issues. And I think it would have been better if they had a little more time to set up. I think it would have been great if they did a 10-episode season. But all told, I was pretty happy with this.
I'm right there with you, man.
Yeah.
I was so surprised, but this was great. The whole season was rushed.
Yeah.
That was the problem.
Yeah.
But this episode itself, like as a contained episode, was fantastic. The pacing was actually slow
They let everything
deliberate
breathe.
and intentional, and yet they wrap up one of the biggest dramatic arcs in the first 20 minutes, maybe 30 minutes.
Yeah.
When he kills Dany.
Yeah.
I was like, oh shit.
Yeah, I guess that's it. Yeah.
That was really impressive.
And I didn't see it coming. I thought we were going to get a very big surprise of, oh shit, Jon Snow's just going to go all in on the genocidal queen with this.
Right.
I thought they had sold it really effectively to me. Like, oh, well, he's basically betraying Tyrion. And he did promise her last episode. He's like, you'll always be my queen. And we know how Jon Snow – actually, Jon's not great with vows. But I guess I should have seen that coming.
The tension in the beginning of this episode was like I was at the edge of my seat. Literally, I had to scoot forward and lean into it because I was just like, oh, I don't know what to do with my hands. I got to grip my knees. I was so into this. I was so nervous for all of our hero characters.
Yeah.
I didn't know the fate of anyone. And it was legit scary.
Well, they look deeply screwed. They've got a crazy woman with the dragon, her fiercely, fanatically loyal army of unsullied warriors, and her horse. I mean, they're screwed. Like, she has everything, and they've got nothing.
Like, I actually got a question from Vic P, aka Lambda Man VP, who says, hey, Grant, was this ending better or worse than Lost?
Mm-hmm.
And I had to think about it for a bit, and I was like, you know what? I had a bigger, I think, emotional investment overall in Lost and how that, wrapped up.
Mm-hmm.
But this one was, so satisfying for me, and when I think about it, I was, on the edge of my seat. like with these characters and their fate, and like I gave a shit. I really cared.
Yeah.
And I was surprised after, like, I've been bitchy about a lot of this past 2 seasons. I've been just an insufferable bitch about it.
You know what this didn't have though? This is weird that I could easily say, yeah, Lost. I have a better connection to Lost finale than I do to this finale. Lost had that moment with Juliet and Sawyer. There was nothing on that level here for me.
Of love reconnected or something?
Of like a powerful moment that really got me.
Oh man, I thought the killing was like that.
There are lots of powerful moments. Nothing that connected as well as, say, Juliet and Sawyer was like a payoff to a thing I'd really been waiting for. So that's not saying I didn't like this. I would say Lost, I remember having a more fondness for the ending.
Yeah, I wouldn't say there was anything that would make a non-robot person cry in this episode.
Right, exactly.
Right, I don't know. Okay, so we're going to talk about this from the beginning.
Yes.
So we start off with a very quiet moment of Tyrion just walking through the horrors of the wake of the destruction of Daenerys and Drogon.
I loved this. So, like, the quietude is very, like, there's not a lot of music. It's very low-key. It's very
atmosphere.
Sit with what you've done. And Tyrion feels responsible for this because he's been advising her and he helped get her here. Like, he knows that he is partly responsible for what happened.
And this is one of those areas where the truncated season has worked in the favor of Tyrion, because we just saw the ramifications of him fully vouching for Daenerys and losing his best friend Varys as a result.
Yep.
So we know where his head is at walking through these ashes here.
Oh, can we jump back real quick to the previous episode?
Sure.
Did you realize that Varys was trying to poison Daenerys? I did not catch that.
No, but it's well done.
In retrospect, it's obvious. Like, that's what he's talking about with his little bird, but I did not catch that at all.
She's not eating her food.
Yeah. It makes sense in retrospect, but I was like, that went by me as too subtle.
Yeah, that was a pretty good one. Yeah, so he's walking through the horrors, and I gotta say, the amount of work they put on the shoulders of Tyrion, Peter Dinklage, to carry this episode.
Yeah.
And he fucking does it.
He does. I mean, you're right. This is Dinklage's episode. This is his Emmy episode if they gave Emmys for Game of Thrones, which I don't know if they do. I don't remember.
I think they do.
By the way, I do like that he began his season strolling through whores, and he ends it strolling through horrors.
Yeah, he basically has to sell us, the audience, on what the pitch is for the finale of this series.
Yeah.
And for my part, he did.
Yeah. I think they do a great job in this opening 20 minutes of showing that Dany is a monster who needs to be taken care of at this point. Like, if you had any question about the danger she poses, the next thing we see is she's got her crazy Unsullied just executing fallen soldiers in the street.
Right. So they have all the soldiers that they've captured, just like kneeling, and Grey Worm's like, y'all gonna die.
And they surrendered.
Yeah.
The only reason they fought is because she started burning the city. Like, they had already surrendered. Then they surrendered again, and that wasn't good enough because Grey Worm is still like, no, you gotta die. Everyone who serves Cersei at any point is gonna die.
I think they got a lot of good payoff with Grey Worm as far as, like,
they did.
You kill Missandei, and Grey Worm is now... I mean, he was already her man.
Yeah.
But, like, he is just so emotionally detached, and I buy into it completely because of, like, he lost the only thing he has. He ventured out of his way to emotionally connect with. He lost it.
He was a slave who had been who had been made a eunuch and from childhood and been raised to kill. And Dany raised him up out of that, made him a, like, commander of the forces, and found him his true love. And he's lost everything except the woman who saved him from his awful existence. Yeah, of course, he's going to be a little hardcore.
Yeah, and to have Jon Snow have to come face to face with it felt like an echo of Eddard Stark.
Yeah, it did.
And how they pay off, like, where he came from. I kept seeing the ghost of Eddard Stark through this episode.
Yeah.
It was like, oh, it's like a Star Wars kind of thing.
Yeah, and also, by the way, because it's the final episode, when they all pull spears and swords, I'm like, oh shit, is this going to be a bloodbath?
Yeah, I love when he grabs
Yeah, he grabs Grey Worm, and it's on.
And they just the stare down between the two. And I'm like, this is some awkward, intense shit right here. Because Grey Worm, you don't know like who's got the upper hand as far as power. Because Jon Snow's leadership there is now very much in question.
Yeah, but the Northmen were with him. To their credit, they pull their swords. They're ready to fight. It's just, that was, and it's only the Onion Knight who keeps it all from turning into a bloodbath.
Then things go a little weird because he's like, I'm going to go talk to Daenerys.
Yeah,
and we cut to the scene, and when we come back to Jon Snow, he must have been just kind of wandering around the city. I don't even know what the fuck he was doing.
It's Jon Snow. He probably got lost. He knows nothing, including how to use Google Maps.
That's so silly. Anyway, let's jump to what happens with Tyrion, because Tyrion also has a little bit of a ridiculous magic journey.
He knows how to use Google Maps.
Because Tyrion's like, hey, I'm going to walk without you guys. I'm going to go into the Red Keep. I'm going to go check shit out and see what went down. And they're like, don't do that. You should take some guards with you. Because, like, what if the mountain's still alive? And that guy's fucking crazy.
And he's like, I'll be fine. Besides, if I die, I don't have to live in this shit show of a world anymore.
Yeah, I got some emotional shit to deal with, so you guys just hang back. So he goes and walks. He walks through and conveniently finds a nice tiny pocket through the buried walls of the underground bunker.
Yeah,
and he's like, "Oh, I'll just crawl in there." And is that a golden hand glowing through the rocks?
Yeah, you know how on Google Maps you
can so well lit.
You know on Google Maps you can drop a pin and people can find you. That's what it was. Jamie dropped a pin, but he dropped his hand.
He's like, man, I'm really glad I put a little GPS tracker into this hand.
So the hand finds the hand.
So paid off. Anyway, that's some bullshit. And we just kind of have to roll our eyes.
Yep.
Especially at the fact that Jaime Lannister and Cersei were killed by 7 bricks falling on top of them because they're on top of this pile. And he moves 4 bricks and there's their bodies. I guess that's all that fell on them.
Maybe it all bounced. The rubble all bounced away.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. Somehow he had to climb up on top of a pile, and they were on top of that pile of rocks, but they were on the ground before. Did they jump up? They keep jumping on top of the
Can I tell you my favorite thing, though?
What?
When he found the hand, there was a bit of me that's like, they're not alive, are they? Are they going to do a thing where pull it off and he coughs and they're still alive?
Oh, man. I thought that. Or he pulls up the hand and there's no body there.
Yeah.
And then you just see them sailing away.
Oh, my God.
Oh, shit.
Oh, my God. It would have been so terrible.
Sailing.
I'm glad we saw the bodies, as ridiculous as that is, because the other options were so much worse.
Oh, man. Okay, so that was a good emotional moment for him.
Yeah.
He's the last of the Lannisters, or at least of his direct lineage.
Yeah, I think he'd be a little more conflicted because his brother was shitty to him and his sister was really shitty to him. But, I get it.
He still loved them. They just didn't love him.
Yeah.
Or Jaime loved him.
Jaime loved him. I mean, Jaime also did, have his wife raped by his entire cadre of soldiers in front of him. But, I guess you forgive those things.
Brothers. You know how brothers do.
I do, yeah. Especially in the Lannister family.
It's fucked up. So, after that, we have Jon Snow walking up these stairs while the Imperial Army, or wait, is that not what we're calling them?
Yeah, that's what it was.
They're all dressed in black. Mm-hmm. They're all standing in line. And I heard dun 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 dun.
Well,
that's not the wrong song.
And Dany's got her dark side clothes on.
Yeah, all of it was is this Star Wars?
Also, the big giant Targaryen banner. Where'd they get that from?
That was also very Hitler-esque, right? They might have been a little heavy-handed on their symbolism.
Just a touch.
Here.
And also the wings coming out from behind her, they went a little heavy-handed on it.
Right.
I was there for it. Whatever.
I'm fine. She's a villain.
Yeah.
There are these theories going on.
Uh-huh.
I got a little caught up in them anyway.
Uh-huh.
But there was these theories of what if the reason they don't show Daenerys after she makes a turn for the Red Keep was because what's going on there is that Bran warged into the dragon, Drogon, and was the one burning everything, and she suddenly was just on top of this dragon without control. And so what happened is he burned it. We're gonna find out that she lands there, and she's just like, I don't know what happened. I didn't do that. And
God, that would have been so much worse.
It was all his plan because Bran was touched by the Night King before he passed the wall. Remember, he had the touch. we'll get back to this. Bran still might be evil.
That's insane.
But that was like one of those theories. So like once I see like she was like fully on board, and she's like, yeah, I burned him. You know? They were part of that old guard. I ain't dealing with that shit.
Yes, I burned the city, and I hope they burn in hell.
Yeah, I don't need that baggage. Was that a...
that was a Time to Kill reference, my friend.
Oh, Time to Kill. I was like, I know Samuel Jackson.
Yeah.
But I'm like, what movie was that? All right. That's good stuff. So, yeah, she gives her Hitler speech on top of the stairs, and you know, she's saying a lot of her same talking points, but they are so much more sinister now.
Yeah, and Jon Snow and Arya and Tyrion are all kind of looking at each other and doing the collar pulling.
Yeah, when like that was one of those really tense moments too. Like she props up Grey Worm. It's like, you are now my master of war or whatever.
Yeah.
And then you have Jon Snow and Tyrion like just kind of chilling behind her, and how everything is framed, how it's like the furtive glances between them.
Yeah,
it was so intense.
Yeah, it was.
And that's where I was just white knuckling, and it's like, I don't know if she's going to turn around and be like,
murder them.
You betrayed me, and you betrayed me, and everyone die. Like, I don't know how it's going to go down.
Yeah.
And then we get one of the most badass moments of the series.
Yeah, for sure.
Tyrion walks up to Daenerys and is like, hey, kind of did some fucked up shit there.
Yeah.
And she's like, bro, I thought we were on the same page. We're just going to burn everyone. He's like, nah,
I'm not good
cool.
with that. I'm not good with that.
She's like, what are you going to do about it? And so he just takes the hand of the queen and says, I'm done with this shit. And then he doesn't even hand it to her in gesture.
He throws it down the stairs.
Throws it down the stairs like a boss.
Yep. I'm honestly shocked she didn't kill him. I mean, I thought she was going to kill him right there.
Right.
Yeah.
But you can't just kill the best character on the show.
No, you can't.
Can't do it.
No, so you have to have him taken away. And Jon Snow does nothing.
I got to say, I made 2 predictions.
Yeah.
To my buddy right before this episode started. And they had a betting pool at the beginning of the season. Like, who do you think will take the throne? But I forgot to join the betting pool. Mm-hmm. And he asked me about it. And I was like, oh, yeah. You know what? My pick will be Bran. I think Bran's going to win.
No, you didn't. Really?
I will show you the text
That's
message.
Hilarious.
I said, I think Bran will win. But I was also still operating off of the evil Night King Bran.
Yeah, sure, okay.
Because I was like, that's kind of a cool theory. So I said, oh, yeah, I think Bran will win. But I was like, man, but I'm still rooting for my boy Tyrion. I wish he would win. Because I like on Reddit, I chose the Tyrion wins the throne subreddit when they had like a big voting poll and you pick your person.
Yeah.
And so I was pining for him. And in a way, I feel like I won with both. Because he's in effect ruling the 6 kingdoms.
I mean, yeah, because Bran's just going to stare off into space, and who knows what he's going to be doing.
It'd be creepy.
Yeah.
He's just going to be warging into animals so he can like creep on other people and like watch what they're doing.
Yep.
Ugh, Bran. Anyway,
so let me ask you this though: the Tyrion is a secret Targaryen did not pan out.
Right.
Do you think that's in the books?
Yes.
You do. Okay.
I think there's going to be a lot more explored in the books that.
Okay. Do you actually
will never happen?
Yeah, I was going to say, do you actually think they're going to explore it, or you think they would be if those books were ever going to be written?
If they're ever written.
Yeah. So when Brandon Sanderson writes them after George R. R. Martin dies.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. In a couple of years.
Yeah.
So Tyrion gets arrested on the spot. Rightfully so.
Yeah,
probably.
that's fair. That's fair.
Yeah, I mean, at least he didn't get murdered.
Yeah.
And then what scene? I wanted to point out something kind of ridiculous and ask you a question. Does Drogon understand? Like, how smart is Drogon the dragon?
I think he's pretty smart. I think clearly we've thought of him as kind of this animal, but he must at least like speak Valyrian.
Right. Like, Daenerys hits a part of her speech that's like a rallying cry.
And he goes for it.
And he just gives the whoop. Yeah. I'm like, wait, what the fuck, dragon? How'd you know, like, to cheer right there?
A lot of people don't know. Dragon are instinctive hype men. They're really good at it.
What? Yeah! Burn to death!
Little
hype man.
Little Drogon.
Little Drogon. Because later, he also, like... Okay, I'll get back to Drogon. It's just kind of ridiculous. Like, I'm like, do you speak? Do you understand everything?
But here's the thing:
on?
in most fantasy, dragons are very intelligent, so it makes sense that they'd be smart.
Right.
But we haven't seen an indication. They've just been kind of animalistic.
Right. So, when Tyrion gets arrested, Jon Snow, kind of does nothing. He's like, "Milady, like, stuff's going crazy." He's like,
she's like, shit, you just shut up.
Shut the fuck up,
Shut
dude.
the fuck up. You know nothing.
I just had a badass speech. All right, I'm riding high. Let me have this.
I'm your aunt. You do what I tell you.
And then, if that wasn't enough, Arya kind of steps up to him too, and she's like, "Bitch, you better kill him. You better kill Daenerys like right now." And he's like, "No, I think things are okay. She's my queen." He's like, "If you don't kill her, she's gonna kill Sansa. She's gonna kill all of us. She's gonna kill you too. You're a threat."
Yeah.
And dumb Jon Snow.
Yeah, dumb Jon Snow.
Sweet, precious, dumb Jon Snow.
Are we sure he's not Eddard Stark's kid? Are we sure?
I mean, he's got the dumb gene of the Starks. He's got that down.
What a shitty thing to get from the Starks.
And so Jon Snow immediately is able to just walk in and talk to Tyrion.
Yeah.
And this is, once again, Peter Dinklage turning to the audience and going, "Don't worry, guys. I got this. I will carry the entire series on my shoulders and explain to you guys. I will sell why he's going to do what he's going to do. I will sell why everyone's character arc went the way they went. It was unexpected, and I'm going to hold your hand through this. I'm your emotional support hand." And man, it was great.
It was great. And when he's talking to Jon and telling him, "Look, you're the only one who can do this." Mm-hmm. I really liked it.
And I like how resistant Jon is. Like it fits his character that he's still going to, like, to the very last moment say no.
Yeah, and also it makes sense for Tyrion. Tyrion wants to do the right thing even though he doesn't think it's going to benefit him. Tyrion has already written himself off. He's like, "Yeah, I'm going to die." He's like, "I am definitely going to die, but I have my one last shot to convince Jon Snow to do the right thing, and I'm going to do it."
Yeah, and like it seemed like they did this interesting dance of the conversation where they're subtly talking around the idea of murder her, and then it just kind of weaves its way into straight up, "You got to do this, dude.
Yeah.
Look, we both know what we're talking about. You got to do this." And he makes all the appeals that he should.
Yeah.
You got to do it for all the kingdoms. You got to do it for your nobility. And Jon Snow's like, "I made a pledge. I'm loyal as fuck.
Yeah.
I can't do this." And it ultimately boils down to, like, he's out the door. He's like, "Look, that's my queen. That's what it's going to be." And Tyrion says, "What about your family?
Yeah,
because they're ever going to bend their knee?"
He's right, because that's exactly what's going to... Like, if Jon Snow does not betray Daenerys, Sansa and Arya are both dead.
And I just, I think that the writers get a lot of shit these past couple seasons that are unwarranted in a huge extent, because these guys have still delivered to us such a brilliant show.
It's a fucking hard job.
Yeah, I'm like, man, I was listening to this other Game of Thrones podcast that records here in our studio. Oysters, Clams, and Cockles guys. Go ahead and listen to it. They're great. And
wait, is that another plug just for the studio? What's the name of the podcast?
Oysters, Clams, and Cockles.
Yeah, all right.
The best #1 Game of Thrones podcast in the realm, I believe, is what they do.
Oh, okay, all right. From the recorded in here in the Permanent Record Studios.
It is
Austin,
recorded
Texas,
here. Yeah.
Which, by the way, Permanent Record Studios, you can record your podcast here. We have reasonable rates.
Yeah. Thanks. We
we
also host, people like Randy Lander of Rogues Gallery Comics and Games in Round Rock, Texas. You have a comic book shop.
Yeah. I appreciate that HBO was so desperate to get people to stick around that we've been able to make a running gag of promoting our shit. Thank you, HBO.
It's so good. Where was I? Oh yeah, I was listening to that show, and they did a call-in show.
Yeah.
And they had a lot of people calling in and just kind of like shitting on the writers, and I'm like, damn, dudes, like, writing is hard. And they're like, well, the writers probably weren't smart enough to think of this. I'm like, yeah, writers are also really fucking smart most of the time.
Yeah.
These guys do consider metaphor easily.
Yeah. Well, there's compromises involved in making something this big. And I think people don't always realize that. And so that if you don't get what you want, and this was one of the things I was struggling with last week, is that I was really upset about that episode. But at no time was like, oh, these guys are the worst writers in the world. I'm like, no, I think there was some mistakes made. But the fact of the matter is, like, that's a hard job. And there's an amount of what was bad and what was bad because it wasn't what I would have done.
They put a deadline on themselves.
Yeah.
And then they had to fit the mold.
Yeah.
And they should have said, we need 4 more episodes. They didn't.
Well, and that's funny thing is, like,
whatever.
It wasn't HBO telling them not to do it. Like, HBO was like, no, do more seasons, do a bigger episode. And they were like,
we'll throw more money at you.
They're like, look, we have 6 episodes, and we got to go do Star Wars, so peace out.
They're like, what about that Confederacy show you were going to do? Remember that? Remember that Confederacy show? They're like, shut the fuck up about the Confederacy show.
Nobody wants...
We have enough people hating on us.
Wow, yeah. No.
So Tyrion's like, yeah, you got to kill her. And I love that the final appeal was to family, because I think that is going to be the thing that most resonates with Jon Snow.
Yeah.
He's loyal as fuck, and once he makes a pledge to someone and says that's what he's going to be, it's hard to break that. But you know what could break it?
Unless you're a hot redhead.
Yeah. Threaten his hot redhead sister.
Threaten his family, or offer to have sex with him, and he will break his vows.
That's true.
So what Tyrion should have done is put on a red wig and been like, it's me, Ygritte, back from the dead, Jon Snow. You know nothing. Go kill the queen.
He'd be like, all right.
All right, I will.
I'll do it. Why do I sound like
Keanu Reeves?
I don't know. That's the worst Jon Snow accent. So I love the pacing of the beginning of this episode.
Yeah, me too.
I love it.
Yeah.
Because they waste no fucking time. They say, this scene happens this.
Yeah.
And he immediately turns right from there. There's no dilly-dallying.
Nope.
We don't need to see what's going on up with Sansa in the north. We don't need to see, like, what kind of wacky shit is Bronn up to? We don't need that.
No.
We need the continuing driving action of the most tense scene that we've been building up to, the confrontation between these 2 lovers and cousin/aunt and nephew.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on. It's incestuous and it's weird. And he goes up there. Drogon wakes up out of the snow. It's kind of a cool scene.
That was cool.
The guard dragon checks him out and is like, "You and me, we good.
Yeah. You're good. You're Targaryen.
You're Targaryen. Go ahead and pass." So he goes in there, and it's kind of a sweet scene.
It is.
Like,
and I honestly, I thought Jon Snow was throwing in with Dany. I really bought it. I was like, oh shit! I guess this is where we're going.
Man, he's the Vader to her Palpatine.
Yeah, and I thought that's where they were going. I thought he was going to go ahead and be loyal and decide, you know what? I'm good with fucking my aunt. I thought he was going to be on board with the whole thing. And then,
I thought this is the dramatic payoff. He's going to do that, because what else do you do? But I just didn't expect it to happen this early.
Yeah.
I thought there was going to be another tense scene, and then there was going to be, like, near the end, they do that.
Well, Dany didn't expect it either.
Right.
She played that, by the way, she played that great. Like, her betrayal and surprise and just how just kind of destroyed she was by it.
Like, all the 3 leads here.
Yeah.
Dinklage, Amelia Clarke, and Kit Harington, they all just step up.
They really did, yeah.
And her finally getting to touch the throne. Does she even get to turn around and sit in it?
I don't think she ever sits in it.
She just touches it, and it seems like a powerful moment.
Oh, and by the way, when she's talking to him, and she's been the Ice Queen and the Hitler this whole episode,
right.
But when she's talking to him, she's let her guard down again.
Yeah.
Because she's telling him about it when she was a girl, and this is a happy moment for her. She's like, I've finally gotten everything I wanted, and I want to share it with you.
Right.
And he's like, yeah, and I also want to share this dagger that I have.
It's so well done. It's so heartbreaking, because you anticipate that she's going to have her hackles up. She's going to be on guard against him.
And she's not.
And suspecting that he might betray her too. And instead, I mean, because he kind of did. He said, he told the secret to his sisters. He already did betray her.
And the thing is, like, even though she just burned King's Landing to the ground, I felt bad for her. Not for Cersei. Fuck Cersei. But I felt bad for Dany.
See, there you go. You can have sympathy for the devil.
Yes, I can. Yes.
And it was a powerful moment. When you see the stabbing happen, did you kind of suspect she killed him?
No, I was pretty sure he'd killed her.
There was a second there where I was like, this is just one of those scenes, it's a trope at this point, where you get the close-up and you know that a stabbing has occurred, but they do the bait and switch, and you're not sure who's going to be the one who falls.
No, that never occurred to me.
And I thought, if she got the jump on him and she killed him, that was going to be fascinating.
Yeah.
But
she did not.
The more satisfying ending,
and
it sucks because we were rooting for Danny.
Yeah, sure.
But the fact that it took this kind of turn, I don't know.
Yeah. It was
a great moment.
And then Drogon shows up, and it seems like bad times for Jon. He's like, look, I killed your mom. Are we cool? And Drogon's like, no, I think I might burn you alive. And Jon's like, yeah, I think that's going to happen.
Fair enough. I accept my fate.
Yeah.
And then Drogon doesn't. And I think that it's a recognition that Jon Snow is a Targaryen.
Yeah.
I think that had it been anyone else.
Oh, he'd have burned him. Yeah.
Drogon would have. But this man has been able to ride with the dragons. He is a Targaryen. He is in some way inextricably linked to the dragons. It's in his blood. As is Tyrion, but that's not going to be addressed in the book, in the show, maybe in the books. And so Drogon makes a very curious and almost fourth wall breaking awareness move of fuck your throne, you Game of Thrones watchers. This is what has caused all of this Shakespearean drama and tragedy.
Yeah.
And I shall burn it.
It was almost cartoonish. I was like, wait, what? He's burning the throne?
Right. This is what you hath wrought.
Yeah. It was a little much, and we had no indication that Drogon was that smart, and it was a little weird.
And for a dragon who casually breathes fire that explodes buildings.
Yeah.
He had to put a couple puffs in to melt that thing.
Yeah, that's true.
And I was like, all right, you got this, buddy. Somehow he was magically exploding everything last episode. But sure. He melts it. He grabs her body, which still has the dagger in it.
Yep.
And he pieces out.
Yeah, he flies away with her.
And Jon Snow goes, holy shit.
I better go tell everybody I killed the queen.
Oh, man, he should have gone, I just got away with murder.
Right? I mean, that's what I was like, oh, okay, I guess it's good for Jon. And the next thing we see him, he's in custody, and they know he killed the queen. And the only way anyone could know is if Drogon told them or Jon told them. And I'm pretty sure it was Jon. Or
Drogon wrote some notes.
Or, okay, I guess maybe Grey Worm's a master detective and he worked it out, and that doesn't seem real likely either.
Jon Snow is a fucking idiot.
He probably walked out there to Grey Worm and was like, hey, look, I just killed Daenerys. Are we cool?
Hey, we're I don't know how you felt about her, but she was going a little crazy, right?
She was crazy, right?
I stabbed her. How'd it happen? Oh, I stabbed her with this knife. I did that like this. Here, come over here. I'll reenact the whole thing.
Queens be crazy.
Yeah, here's her blood stains over here, and Drogon just pieced out over there with her.
He burned the throne.
Yeah, he took her with it. I could have just gotten away with it, but I'm an honest dude.
Yeah.
Why?
I really, there's no other way they found out. Jon had to have somehow fessed up to it.
And what is great is it is so believable to his character
100%.
that he would have done it.
This is not a Danny burns down the land. This is not even a Danny burns down King Landing thing where you're like, okay, I can sort of see it. No. Jon telling Grey Worm that he murdered the queen is 100% in his character.
I love it because like in any other show, you'd be like, no. Bullshit.
That makes no sense.
Why would they ever get that guy?
Yeah.
But no, he's so fucking Eddard Stark's kid. He's so noble that, of course, he would rat himself out just because he's an idiot.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's have a time jump.
Yeah.
Suddenly, you can tell that time has passed because Tyrion's beard is scragglier and longer, and he's looking even more haggard.
Yeah.
And he's about to just drop a new country album. He's just looking pretty nasty. And the doors open to his prison cell. Grey Worm and the Unsullied come in and like, let's roll. And he takes them over to the High Council.
Yeah.
Which is having another meeting. And were you surprised to see who's there?
Yeah, I was very surprised by this. I mean, they did bring back Yara.
Mm-hmm.
They had Edmund Tully, who I didn't recognize at first. A few kings from the north, who I don't recognize at first either.
Yeah, Samwell is there. He's representing
the Tarly house. Well, isn't he the last Tarly?
Yeah, Brienne is representing Tarth.
Yeah.
So it's kind of cool to see them.
Dorne was there. Some dude from Dorne.
And apparently, all the Starks get to show up to represent their house.
Yeah.
They get 3 votes?
Yeah.
Sure, but I guess if Arya kills the Night King, she should get a vote.
Well, I think the thing is, Arya and Bran in theory aren't there as Starks. Arya's there as like Sansa's bodyguard, and Bran is there because like he just knows shit.
Yeah, it was weird they didn't who has a vote and who doesn't.
Yeah.
But High Council wise, all the Starks are there, and wouldn't it be funny if all the Starks somehow got all the power at the end?
Here's a weird thing.
They were the big winners?
Edmund Tully, it turns out, is like a B+ public speaker. And his niece just has to kind of shut him down a little bit.
I love how he tried to step up for a TED Talk, and
he's like, look, I could be king. I've got these whole fish things on me. And Sansa's like, sit down, you're embarrassing yourself.
Sit the fuck down. Such a great scene.
Yeah.
But, the whole tension that was kind of illustrated with Grey Worm being like, I'd kind of like to kill these guys. I'd like to kill him. I'd like to kill Jon Snow.
Yeah, I definitely want to kill Tyrion. I'm definitely going to kill Jon Snow. He killed my queen.
Tyrion, I just kind of don't want you talking. You're a pain in my ass.
And I love Sansa's she's like, look, we've got thousands of people outside your walls. And he's like, yeah, I got thousands of Unsullied. Let's do this.
Yeah, he's bring it.
Yeah, what does he care?
We'll see how
he
it goes.
He doesn't care if everybody dies.
Yeah, and Tyrion just being like, it's not really your call. And he's like, shut the fuck up. But Tyrion's like, but seriously, like, someone needs to be a leader, and that's who's going to be the call. And Grey Worm could have been like, nah. I'm in a position where once you guys pick a leader, this could go really sideways for me. But he's like, okay.
Yeah,
sure.
yeah.
And
I give credit to Grey Worm for knowing that he's not really the master of war that she's on. He's just the baddest ass in the room. Like, he is not a guy who can run things.
Right.
If they need plumbing, if they need coin and ships, Grey Worm does not know how to do any of that shit, and I credit him for knowing his limitations.
So
Sam, on the other hand, does not know his limitations and does not remember that he's in Westeros because he suggests democracy and is roundly laughed out of the room.
It is the best because when he says this, he's like, I think that the people should be able to pick who leads them.
I was for a second there. I was like, wait a minute, are they actually going to do this? That'd be crazy.
Like there's this hesitation from us from watching this from our time period.
Yeah,
thinking like, oh, what a good idea.
Yeah, they're going to do democracy in Westeros? That did not see that coming.
And then those guys kind of bust out laughing. And then you look over and I'm like, well, they're going to laugh, of course. Yeah. But then Sansa's like laughing? So laughing too. She's like, fuck off, dude. But Sansa's also super power hungry. Yeah, so I'm like, it totally fits.
But that was hilarious. That's probably one of my favorite moments of the finale was Sam suggesting democracy and just getting shouted down.
Also, what's that Onion Knight doing there? What does he rule?
Does he have a thing now? I mean, did Daenerys?
He even says basically, I don't know why I'm here. He's like, if I even have a vote, I don't know. I keep tripping upwards here in this crew, and I know that you guys just like me and like having me hang around because I just seem kind of practical, but I don't necessarily have power.
But
okay,
I'm a smuggler, man. I don't know why I'm here. It's like when Han Solo was suddenly a general in Return of the Jedi.
It's exactly it.
Yeah.
And they know it. It doesn't make sense. They're fine.
Just go ahead and promote Han Solo and Lando, man. They were scoundrels, but they can fly a ship. I'm sure they'll be good.
I was so on board with it.
Yeah, me too.
Okay, so Tyrion, then they're like, look, dude, like none of us is necessarily clever. We're not going to be able to pick because if any of us just try and nominate ourselves, it's gonna rub everyone else the wrong way. We just saw what Edmund tried to do.
Yep.
No one's dealing with that. So they say, Tyrion, you're super smart. How about you pick?
And Tyrion's like, I've been writing fanfic myself for the last few weeks.
Yeah. He's like, oh, I know who should do this. And what did you think?
He picks the least. I did not see this coming.
Who'd you think he was gonna say?
I thought Sansa.
I thought he was gonna say Jon Snow.
Yeah.
I thought he was going to make the appeal of like this guy is the last of his dynasty. King, yeah. This is the guy who's like, especially when he goes, who's got the best story? I'm like, Jon Snow's got the best story.
Yeah.
Everyone's got great stories. You know who had the most boring story that we usually like skipped and didn't want to talk about as much? Bran.
But he's right. It's a good story. Like he's this kid who got tragically thrown out a window. And then he became this most powerful person in Westeros. It's weird.
Is he powerful, though? Like, why give him warg powers and then we don't see him?
It's weird that he doesn't ever do anything with them.
Show us your warg powers, you creepy kid.
But
put the white contact lenses in and just show us.
I loved that. I'm like, I never saw this coming. I never saw him being king. And I think Tyrion makes the especially good pitch of, like Jon, he doesn't want to be king.
And like, oh, but why are you? He's like, well, I showed up here, didn't I? So I do kind of want it.
And unlike John, he's probably going to make less stupid decisions. I mean, he's not going to make any decisions because he's going to sit and stare at the wall.
I was conflicted, of course. Like, obviously neither of us thought this was going to be the pick initially.
Did not see it coming.
Although I did have him as my vote, and I will show you the text message in a bit. I totally said Bran, but I was kind of
You
doing
were
a little
fucking around,
a little tongue-in-cheek. But I thought it's possible that he'll end up taking it because I thought, like, there's some other evil machinations, and I thought he is an acolyte of the Night King in a way. Remember, they made some weird point.
They did, and I
when
feel
he
like,
gets touched.
Yeah.
That, like, when other people get touched, like Craster, the dude who was knocking up Gilly and all of his other daughters up there, they kind of go crazy and they're under his spell or something. Yeah. And if Bran, the three-eyed raven who has all the knowledge of everything, gets touched, well, what does that mean? Like, in a way, I thought his touch meant that when he passes the wall, he broke the spell, and that's what allowed the Night King to go past the wall.
And maybe that's the case. We never told us.
Yeah, it doesn't, like, we don't know, like, there's some of this mythology that George R. R. Martin set up, and then these guys kind of danced around but didn't want to really dive into because it's a little bit too nerdy.
Yeah.
And
look, it'll be in the books.
It'll
be in the books that Brandon Sanderson writes in 2024. So just hang on for that.
We don't know.
Yeah.
So yeah, he ends up getting he gets the pick, and you see Sansa just kind of gritting her teeth for a second. She's like, "The fuck?"
Yeah.
But then she's like, "Oh wait, you're my brother." Theoretically,
yeah.
Still, I don't know who you are anymore. But you were my brother, and so I can say, hey, since a Stark is going to be ruling the South, another Stark still wants the North.
Yeah.
And so we're going to go ahead and take that.
I like that she basically stands up. Like, everybody else is like, yeah, fuck it, sure, you can be king. And she's like, yeah, you can be king, but not my king because I'm going to be queen in the North.
And you're my little brother. Fuck off,
So
bitch.
fuck off.
Yeah. I'm going to give you a wedgie.
And Bran knew all that was going to happen anyway, so he's like, "Yeah, cool, whatever."
Yeah, that's fine. I don't really want. It's
like,
cold there.
I don't care about any of this. I'm honestly just going to stare at a wall, and Tyrion's going to run things.
I just like eating paint. I don't know what it is. I do. I just like eating.
I
paint.
just like to eat paint, and occasionally like send crows places.
So Tyrion puts a hard sell. Everyone just kind of has to like buy into it.
Yeah.
And it was kind of funny. It's like, well, I'll take the North, I'll take the South, with the two Starks, and then you have the third Stark who's just chilling there, Arya, who's like, and I'm going to take the West.
Yeah, she's like, I'm going to go find out what's over there and probably rule that.
I'm going to sail west, and I'm probably going to dominate whatever's over there. For some reason, we didn't map it. And I was thinking, Arya, do you know how maps work? It just kind of goes over onto the other side. You're just going to end up on the other side of Westeros. That's all it is. She's like in North America going like, oh, we know that Europe and Africa and Asia are to the east, but what happens if we go west? Also, those continents. It's just on the other side. It's a globe. Jeez.
Well, Arya's a flat Westeroser.
She's a flat one. That's got to be what it is.
Yeah.
Made no sense.
There's a lot of flat Westerosi in Bravos. She just picked it up.
Samuel was like, I could never mind. Yeah. Just go on your boating adventure.
She's not going to vaccinate any kids either.
Yeah, you just totally saved us from the Night King. You can do whatever you want.
Go sail.
I want to shoot your dream down. So fine. So it seems like the Starks won.
Yeah, things worked out great for the Starks.
The Starks won the Game of Thrones,
except for Rickon, who doesn't know. You got to know how to serpentine.
Poor dumb Rickon.
Eddard Stark.
Almost as dumb as Jon Snow.
Did not work out great for Eddard Stark. And Jon Snow.
Catelyn, the smartest of them. Robb didn't work out for him.
Robb, did not work out for him either.
That's just because, the world is chaotic and evil.
But Jon Snow gets to go live in the north with his buddy Tormund and his buddy Ghost.
Right. It's like all of them kind of lucked out and got a little... It's like a happy ending.
It is a happy ending.
I mean, if we take a step back and think about this world, are things necessarily better? They might be better for a generation.
Yeah.
But it's back to the same old with the power struggle and Tyrion and Bronn and Sam and all of them around the table, like controlling the fates of men. Mm-hmm. It's just like it felt like and the wheel continues to turn. Dany doesn't break it.
But they did break the wheel because I think the largest point that was made is that why Bran was a good choice because Bran cannot have heirs.
Right.
And so
How long is that going to last until the next king?
So when they have an next king, they're going to have to choose them. So it's not going to be a thing where someone can kill Bran and take over, but there's no like rightful heir. That means that they have in theory, Tyrion and his wise council gets to pick the next leader. So that in theory, things have gotten better. That's the wheel they broke, and I think that is important.
Democracy.
But we also we skipped over one of my favorite scenes, which is the small council meeting.
Oh, yeah, no, we're not skipping.
Okay,
Sorry,
all right.
I didn't mean to get ahead of ourselves.
Okay, yeah.
So Jon Snow gets sent to the north.
Yep.
And when they said that, I was laughing my ass off.
Yeah.
I thought it was so funny. Hey, Jon, we got some bad news for you, buddy. We're sending you right back up to the north. He's just like, God damn it.
Yeah, we're demoting you again.
Do you remember that movie, The Great Escape?
Uh-huh.
With Steve McQueen, and he like just keeps getting sent back to the cooler.
Yeah.
With his baseball mitt.
Yep.
And I'm like, that's it for you. I just went that dun 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 dun, dun, and he just like gets shipped right back up there. He's like, this is the prison I already signed up for.
Yeah.
This isn't really actually that bad. Grey Worm's just a dummy.
Yeah.
And.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, Grey Worm gets his Isle of Men.
Yes.
That like, oh, you guys can have your own island to rule for
until you all die out because none of you can have children.
a generation.
Yes.
You guys haven't really thought this through.
Grey
have you?
Worm and the Island of Lost Manhood.
Yeah, there you go. I guess I don't know. Adopt some kids and raise them.
Sure,
and have
whatever.
That be the next generation.
Yeah.
So Jon gets to say goodbye to his siblings.
Yes.
And
I liked that a lot.
that was a good moment.
Yeah.
It wasn't Sawyer and Juliet.
No.
Nothing as emotional as that.
No.
You get Arya crying on the docks.
Yeah.
Saying goodbye. Like, I'm going to go sail for a bit.
Yep.
You get Bran being creepy as usual.
Sure.
I like that Jon Snow once again tries to be like, hey, my lord. And he kneels that to him. He's like, all right, Bran. See you later. Like, he doesn't know what to say because Bran's just weird.
Yeah, Bran's weird.
He just stares at him.
Yeah.
Those big old eyebrows.
Yep.
And so, yeah, he rolls out of there, and we see that Brienne, he's not up to the wall yet.
Right.
They actually acknowledge that it takes time to travel, and so they have some other scenes in between there to acknowledge that. Brienne finds the Book of Knights.
Brienne writes her Jaime fanfic in the Book of Knights.
She gets all into it.
He was the best, and he did all this great stuff, and
looks like we're going on to page 5 with this bad boy.
And then he died protecting his queen from rubble.
Oh, and here's some drawings I did of his anatomy.
Here's his penis.
I don't know if this is going to be important, but
just from memory, here's what it looks like.
Here's some adventures that I imagined would have been cool, like he and I could have gone on.
Yeah, like we teamed up and we fought aliens.
Slow your roll, Brienne. Going too much. Then we get Tyrion's small council meeting.
I loved Tyrion's small council meeting so much. I love that Bronn and the Onion Knight are the master of coin and the master of ships.
So he never was officially the hand in King's Landing, right? No, he was.
Wait, he was. Yes, he was.
He was the acting hand, but on behalf of his father.
Yes, yeah.
Who was the hand?
Yeah,
but wasn't there yet.
Right.
But the shuffling of chairs, it felt like a callback that I just don't
I couldn't
recall.
place it either. Yeah.
Yeah, but it was a nice little moment that he. He seems a little bit nervous. He's shuffling in his chair. Mm-hmm. He wants to have like the good pose when everyone comes in, but he can't do it. And it's like he's nervous for his big date.
Yeah, and then all these people, they all know him, and none of them are impressed by him being the hand.
No one gives a fuck.
No, Bronn just kind of scoots the chair out.
We had that dangling thread of like what's going to happen with the Bronn story.
Yeah,
and I love it that we get the payoff of he just got everything he wants.
Yeah, he's Lord of Highgarden. Yeah,
he got a fuck ton of money. That's what he wants. Mm-hmm. He's a deadly dude, but he also is just gonna age ungracefully into this fat old miserly white dude.
Yeah.
That I'm like, okay,
yep,
it fits
that was
for
great.
Bronn. That's his arc.
And Samuel Tarly's the Meister. I love that.
He's great.
I love it.
Yeah, and Podrick is a knight.
Podrick's a knight,
and Brienne is the head knight, the white knight,
the Kingsguard.
Kingsguard, yeah. And everything is as it was in a way, and that's kind of weird. But they have noble tasks. They're trying to figure out how to feed people and how to get them clean water. And those are the things they should be doing.
Yeah.
That's stuff that Cersei never gave a shit about.
No.
And it's like Tyrion does care about people, and it feels like he's doing right by the memory of Varys.
I agree. Yeah. He's trying to do what Varys always wanted people to do. Yeah, I agree.
Bran rolls in like Professor X, being a little weirdo, and says, and they like, he's like, what happened with the dragon? Oh, we're gonna be looking at that. And he's like, I'll look into it. I'm like, what was that part?
Is he going to warg into the dragon?
Is he warging the dragon?
He must be.
Man, I'm going to go warg the dragon later. It sounds like a euphemism. But I think that, I don't know. Like, there's still this lingering weirdness about what Bran is. And I also think it's fucked up that everyone insists on calling him Bran the Broken.
Yeah. He's like, dude, what the fuck?
Can you call me Bran the Three-Eyed Raven? That one's cool. Quit calling me Bran the Cripple. Why does that have to be my nickname as my royal nickname?
Bran the can't walk motherfucker.
Bran the Cripple. Bran the Impotent. Bran the Bad Haircut. Come on, guys. Give me a better nickname. I'm the fucking king now.
Yeah. It is hilarious that Bran, sure, he had a great story or whatever, but Bran did nothing, and he gets to be rewarded by being the king.
Sure. Basically, his story was other people helping him out and doing stuff for him. Hodor carrying him on his back. The Jojen's like leading him and keeping him alive and doing all this stuff while he just kind of wanders around and lays there and goes, what's going on?
I think the greatest accomplishment Bran had is he didn't do anything super terrible.
Yeah, he didn't do anything dumb.
He didn't burn down King's Landing.
But that's just because now he knows everything. He sees everything.
He didn't explode the chapel full of people. He didn't do all the shit that Joffrey did. He didn't do all the bad shit that Jon Snow did. Bran's biggest accomplishment as pre-king is, I didn't do really terrible things. I was just useless. And that's what you want in a king.
Sure. All hail Bran, the broken, impotent, weird haircutted kid.
Yeah.
We also have this little moment where Samwell presents this felt sloppy. It felt weird to me. Mm-hmm. He presents his book to Tyrion called The Song of Ice and Fire, which for all of you book readers, that is the name of the book series for Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
And it is the history of all the stories, and it felt a little bit like a slap in the face to George R. R. Martin.
It kind of did, yeah.
Didn't it feel like, we completed your books on our show, asshole. We can finish our story. You can't.
Yeah.
I was like, damn, they're really just calling him out with that.
Yeah, but you know what? He earned that shit by not writing a fucking book.
Fair enough. But they sure did capitalize on what he started.
Yes, that's true.
So, kiss the ring, I think, a little bit. Anyway, they did that. It felt like a dick move. And then on top of that, Tyrion's like, oh, how are they portraying me in this? And Sam's like,
you're not in it.
You're not really in there. And I was like, what the fuck? How is Tyrion not mentioned in it? What kind of lame-ass book is that?
Yeah. It's mostly it's like fanfic about Jaime, mostly.
I guess the funniest part about that is Tyrion is the best part of this entire series.
Yeah.
And him being absent from that book makes that garbage.
Yeah.
Okay, so John shows up at the wall, and I just wanted that what's that song from Top Gun when he goes back into the bar?
Yeah.
The Wright Brothers or something?
Yeah.
I don't know what it was. But when he opens the doors and there's Tormund, there's Juliet to his Sawyer, right?
No, Ghost is Juliet to his Sawyer.
It was just this beautiful moment where he just gives this head nod like, bro, I've been waiting for you. It's like, bro, I love you. And then we have the everyone suiting up.
Yeah.
What did you think of that? It felt corny like a preview or a trailer does for the series.
Yeah.
Coming up this season. Everyone walking away from you, and sheathing their swords or pulling them out and collapsing a telescope. And I'm like, this just feels hokey in a way.
It's a little weird, yeah.
But
I liked Arya being happy. Like, she gets to be happy. She gets to go explore the world and find out that the world is round. That's great for her.
It felt, about vaccines are going to blow her mind.
Yeah, they're going to blow her mind.
It felt a little bit like the end credits to a Marvel movie to me.
I can get that.
Where like you get like, oh, these are the iconic,
The iconic moments. Yeah.
Objects and actions and moments that have defined this series.
I liked Sansa. I like Sansa's Queen of the North moment.
Yeah.
I liked that quite a bit.
Like all the people like giving props to Jon Snow as he's walking up there. King in his own right.
What I really wanted though was an Animal House style with text of what happens to each of them. That's what I wanted. That's what I wanted.
I love this. I thought that this was a great way to wrap things up. Aside from that aspect,
yeah.
Overall, like it seems like we get a happy ending for a lot of these characters that we've been rooting for, which we weren't necessarily expecting.
So I'm surprised. I thought you might be down on this because I know you were always a little skeptical of the happy endings, like that goes against what Game of Thrones was.
I mean, it's not all peachy keen. I thought Daenerys did not get a happy ending.
No, not great for her. Also, Jon does go back and live in the North, but he's really just kind of where he is at the beginning. Like, Ygritte is dead. He's lost the two loves of his life. He murdered one of them. He murdered both of them, really. I mean, he got Ygritte killed for sure.
He has an evolution, actually.
Yeah.
There's that moment where you think he's escorting the wildlings past the gate.
Yeah.
And he might turn around and go back through the gate. And then he looks back at the gate. It starts closing. And then he turns and walks with the people into the woods. And it's like, oh, no. He's not staying on the wall.
Yeah.
He's
a free folk.
Yeah, he's going AWOL. He's relinquishing his duty, which is uncharacteristic of him. And he's now a free man. He's going to hang with his dog and his best redheaded buddy.
That's right. He pet his dog like everybody asked him to.
And he pet his dog, which just felt like a turn to the audience, be like, look, we heard your complaints. We went back and filmed this last second.
There's no way they did this in 6 days. This was always going to happen.
They hustled.
The internet should not get up on its ass and think that they did this in any way.
We did it. USA.
No.
USA.
No, do not get emboldened. Do not go and write a petition how you want to see the Tormund, Jon Snow, and his dog show next season on HBO, or you're going to cancel your subscription. Do not do that. No one gives a fuck.
You already canceled your subscription, Randy. What are you talking about?
I did, but I would come back for Jon Snow, Tormund, and his dog.
So that's it, man.
So that's it.
We're done.
So I want to ask a very important question. In terms of finales, and this is a pretty, this is day one. We just finished watching this like an hour ago. Where do you rank this as far as like finales? Like, there's a lot of finales this year. Big Bang Theory, of course, had their big emotional wrap up, which I, of course, cried all the way through. You know how I love the Big Bang Theory. No, but like Endgame was a damn near perfect ending, I think. And I was super happy about that. I did not have that feeling with Game of Thrones. I wasn't like, oh, wow, they stuck the landing. I was like, that was okay. That was good.
I think it's hard for me to be ecstatic about the ending here, given how controversial the rest of the season has been.
Yeah.
It hasn't been building up to the hype level that would have me leaning in and cheering every moment of this as a culmination of everything that's come before it.
Right.
So much as like, I thought this was really well done. I was very happy with this finale, but it's still like the season had problems.
Yeah,
it's like Lost.
Yeah,
I love the finale of Lost. That season had problems.
Yeah,
there was the Dogen and the temple and the like team trying to pull the heist and like I don't know.
Yeah, well they landed the plane successfully. It didn't explode on the runway.
Right.
But by no means was it like not a bumpy ride.
Yeah. So, like, what about you?
That's kind of how I feel about it. Like, I wasn't so down on this season. I did think that it had pacing issues. And I really didn't like the last episode, although in retrospect, having seen everything, I'm a little more okay with it. And I thought
there's a means to an end.
This was a very satisfying ending for me. I liked where they left a lot of the characters. I thought this was always going to be damn near impossible to end in a satisfying way. There was no way to bring like really big surprises, but there were some surprises. Like I didn't see Bran coming at all. I didn't see Arya wanting to go explore the rest of the globe. Like there was a few things that I'm like, oh, that's a cool surprise.
I didn't think that we were going to kill off Daenerys, and then all of a sudden, like, establish who is actually. They gave us a Game of Thrones winner.
Yeah, they did.
There was
a winner. Yeah.
Bran won.
And the winner, apparently, all you need to do to win the Game of Thrones is stare at the wall.
Daenerys actually technically won briefly.
Yeah.
And then she had that there was an assassination.
Yeah. So she had like a brief win. There were a few winners along the way. Cersei had the throne for a while.
Right.
Everybody's had their turn.
The game is still afoot.
It
never really ends.
Yes.
But Bran's got it for now at the conclusion of this series. And yeah, I don't know. I think I want to digest it a bit more. But I was pretty satisfied with this. And you're right. This is a controversial show that, especially in these past few episodes, that have everyone at each other's throat. And this did a pretty great job of giving satisfying conclusion to a lot of these characters.
Yeah, it's a solid ending.
What more can you ask?
I'm curious. Kyle cannot be with us tonight, but Kyle is apparently not on board, so we may revisit this when he gets back in and see what he thinks.
I haven't looked at the internet to see what anyone else is saying.
I've seen mixed so far, so.
Oh. Man, I don't know. I'm happy.
Yeah, I'm happy too. I was pretty happy with it.
Yeah. I'm going to go lick some tears of some sad people and laugh at them because that's what I like to do.
Yeah, fair enough.
When other people want to shit on my joy, I laugh at them.
Yeah, that's fair.
All right, folks. We did it. We did a long episode here.
Yeah, we did. You know what, though?
I'm going to try and post this pretty quickly. But
people should tune in to the Mr. Robot podcast on Electric Sweater.
Oh, yeah, that's another one.
Yeah, and like, don't just go away because Game of Thrones is over. There's all kinds of great content on Electric Sweater.
We got Mr. Robot. We got Watchmen. We got Happy Town. We got, what's this other one? Oh, Star Trek Pod.
Yeah, there's all kinds of stuff coming up, guys. And maybe we'll do a dedicated Euphoria podcast.
No.
No, probably not.
It's not happening.
Nope.
All right, folks. We are available to you guys to financially support over at patreon.com/tvdudes. Please go over there and make a per episode pledge. We appreciate all of the support you guys have given us so far, and we really hope that we've used the money that you guys have given us to good effect. We have used it to help us be able to get better equipment, and then part of that went into a little bit of an investment that was repaid back to the account, but for having a studio that we now record in.
Right. Also, I put a lot of money on Euron Greyjoy being the guy trying to take the throne, and I feel like that's going to pay off really well.
We'll see. We'll see. We're using some of that to help pay for this karaoke party we're throwing too.
Yep.
So we try to be deliberate about the investment that you guys give us in Patreon and use it to continue to grow this so that we are hopefully providing things that are of value to you guys, the listeners.
Yeah, build the show, grow the audience, and provide stuff you like. Plus, we do Patreon episodes when we can. Not always, because we've been recording really late to do Game of Thrones.
Yeah, we're not doing one this week.
But the Patreon episodes will be back.
But until then, we will also be back. But not this week, probably next week.
Yep.
Guys, we appreciate all of you, and we're going to miss Game of Thrones.
Yeah, we are.
But until then,
TV Dudes out.
The TV Dudes is an independently run podcast and a member of the Electric Sweater Podcast Network. We are exclusively listener supported. If you'd like to help us out, go to patreon.com/tvdudes. You can like us on Facebook and Twitter at TV Dudes. All the music for our show is by our friend and original TV dude, Gregory J. Amani Smith. To find out more about us, go to thetvdudes.com and electricsweater.com. I'm Grant Davis. Thanks for listening.